Moving on, next topic. We got stupid Warhammer article I want to go over. Warhammer 40k. Polygon, of course, your bastion of cultural and musical purity. Here to set me straight. Warhammer 40k's new status quo is absolutely wild. Bobby G's back to lead the Blue Boys, and it's a big deal. Alright. The Warhammer 40,000 universe is nearly incomprehensibly vast, with 40 years of canon spread across game, books, novels, animated shorts, in-universe documents, and video games. One of those would be Fire Warrior, man. I bought that disc. I never could get the game to work. Still one of my biggest regrets, Fire Warrior. I knew somebody who played it too. That, and like, you know, you hear about those things. There's a video game once, someone told me about this Game Boy Dragon Ball Z game. They told me it was awesome. Another regret. Never got to play one like that. Anyway, there isn't any one narrative. Instead, this truly is a galaxy full of protagonists with their own stories, most of which are cut short when someone is eaten by a space bug, kidnapped by a sadistic space elf, or is corrupted by the X-dimensional forces of chaos. In recent years, some very interesting plot developments have unfolded. The God Emperor, his Primarch sons, and other key characters are starting to emerge from stasis. I don't know. I wonder if that's more like it's because they had to go back to the Horus Heresy, you know, of like doing a prequel thing. Because, I mean, look at every other franchise in existence. They're all doing prequel shit as well. So, and because of that, now having to bring it into the the mainstream as well, which means stasis fields, which means Captain America is trapped in ice, which is basically Rabute Gilliman, isn't he? Yeah, it's basically Captain America. I'm wondering, is there Marvel superhero parallels with all of them? Probably, but whatever. The galaxy is now cracked in half, a chaotic maelstrom ripping across the stars. The Imperium is under new management, with a very stressed and sad man named Rabute Gilliman taking the helm. Sad man. I don't know if that's an accurate description. Sad. He's a fucking Primarch. I mean, he'd be feeling things on way different levels. I mean, the way they describe them, first off, with their, their psychic powers and shit like that, but not only that, but like their level of thinking and stuff like that. And not like, I remember hearing like some things talking about like they had to remind themselves to be kind of personable with people and stuff like that because they're so far above being human that regular humans that are around for too long will start like looking at them like weird because they don't act human because they're so more evolved past that. So I don't know. Sad man, yeah. I don't really, mix him as the sad Primarch. That would most likely be someone like Petarabo or like, maybe Vulcan? I don't know. The God Emperor has rallied enough strength to burn the Garden of Nurgle, a chaos god of rot and decay. What inspired all of this change, and what does it mean for the 40k setting? It means Arcs of Omen. Ooh. Now I get to build basically the same army, but a little bit different. Because I don't need to have any troop choices, which is great. I don't know. Man, I kind of wish they would make... I don't know. Whatever. That's a whole different topic of conversation. Maybe I'll get into that later. If there's anything approaching a main character in 40k, the closest thing would be the Emperor of Mankind. He is a carrion lord upon a golden throne, rotting carcass that is barely kept alive by faith, ancient technology, constant human sacrifices, and sheer willpower. The Emperor, despite being a secularist in his time, is worshipped as a god by the vast Imperium of Man, who rules the stars. Well, yeah, they mainly rule the stars, but there's a lot of other people out there in the stars as well. It is really interesting. I mean, him hating kind of religion and yet becoming religion. I wonder if there really is like a catch-22 or something there, or like a paradox kind of thing. But, or, as what they like to do more often is just being like, well, the Emperor, and this is all the Emperor's plan because he's the perfect Emperor. So, you know, it was his plan to eventually become, which there's a belief behind that too, is that the whole point is the Emperor knew, you know, to defeat the Chaos Gods, he would probably have to become a Chaos God or something like that, so he could enter into the great battle or whatever they called the great game with the other Chaos Gods and finally win. Because, right, maybe the whole thing would be over once one Chaos God won the whole thing, right? And you can't have any of the other ones like Korn or Nurgle winning because that would be terrible. But if you had one like the Emperor win, well, and bada bing, bada boom, there we go. We got his whole motivation, and to get there, he would have to lie to his sons, which would make the horror, whatever. Anyway, if the Emperor fails, mankind fails along with him, as he powers the cosmic lighthouse that lets ships navigate the stars. He can only communicate with humanity fleetingly through tarot readings and visions. Interesting. I'm wondering, so like this is the secularist thing, like against the religion. I wonder if they chose like tarot cards and that kind of stuff. Maybe they should have done like a crystal ball because it's not really like set to a specific religion, you know. Like and visions, like if they made it like praying, that's still too kind of religious. Like people would communicate him through praying, which I guess they probably have stories like that in there. Anyway. A common bit of boilerplate text, often published as a foreword for most 40k novels, describes the setting as, here we go. To be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regimes imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods. Not great. Well, things... were things always this bad? I mean, it's your opinion things weren't... that's not great. I think that's pretty good. It's kind of exactly what you want from your setting. Over 10,000 years ago, the Emperor was much closer to an actual man. He genetically engineered 20 sons to serve as his primarchs, generals to his armies, and extensions of his will. 2 of them were exiled under mysterious circumstances. Basically, Games Workshop being like, you guys make your own primarchs. But we know, as with all things, eventually they will come back. And God knows, with Games Workshop being the way it is, we're getting 2 Primarch ladies. 2. You know what that means? There's only 2. Alright? So one of them, it's got big boobies, and the other one's got a big butt. That's the way they're going to do it. They're going to split the female Space Marines into tit girls and ass women. And there you go. You got your female Space Marines. You got your 2 chapters right there. Tits and ass. And 9 fell to the corruption of chaos. As it turns out, the Emperor was not an aspirational figure. He's an abusive father and cruel dictator who was so terrible half his sons decided they'd rather deal with demons than continue to serve him. False. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on with the Emperor and trying to figure out like reasons for why things happened. So I think it's easy for a Polygon writer to be like, the sons didn't turn, the kids didn't turn out perfectly. So obviously, the parents did something wrong, right? The Emperor did something wrong. As a, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's their worldview. Somebody doesn't turn out the way they're supposed to, or the way we think they're supposed to. It's somebody else's fault. It's not theirs. No. It can't be the sons made the choice to turn against the father. Though. What was pretty good about the Horus Heresy books, a lot of them so far, they do try to make it's a pain in the ass, because they do try to make it somewhat sense that they would turn against the Emperor, which is like, it's not turning like against your father, it's like turning against God, which is way bigger, but they try to make it make some sense, like with Horus and what he sees with, not Angron, the Word Bearers guy, Fulgrim. Is it Fulgrim? No. Is it Fulgrim? Anyway, the word bearers, Primarch, and that kind of stuff, seeing the future. And, you know, I the way I see it is that, the first Primarch who got to see into the future and saw that the Emperor would become a god, and that he saw the whole thing as just hypocrisy from his father. You know, I have a feeling that all would have probably happened regardless of the Horus Heresy or not, right? Horus Heresy doesn't happen. There's no great, war between all this stuff. Thousands of years down the line, hundreds of thousands of years, I still think they're going to be viewing the Emperor as a god. Like, so, I don't know. I don't really see it as it being like necessarily part of some great plan that the Emperor needs them to turn against him. And I also really don't see it as I don't know. Because that's the way I would see it more as being his fault directly. That he needed his sons to do these things. But, I don't know. I guess, come up to your own opinions on that. Polygon Raiders. The Loyalist Primarchs were largely lost, dead, vanished, or otherwise unavailable. Just pooping, taking poos. Ferris Manus just sitting on the toilet. Boop, boop, boop. While the Horus Heresy novels, which have ran since 2006, explore these characters in depth, the Primarchs are largely figures of myth and legend in the modern day. That changed in 2018 when Horus' successor, Abaddon the Spoiler, came out of nowhere with the metaphorical steel chair. He destroyed the world of Cadia, the imperial world that held off chaos, and opened a great rift amongst the galaxy. Oh great, now things are even worse for everybody. I mean, okay. That changed. I mean, first off, I don't know. There's like 13, 14 Black Crusades. Abaddon's always been kind of a successor trying to do something, but yeah, he never really made progress, and they go back and try to make it make sense, but I don't know. The other question is, too, destroying a whole Blackstone fortress to destroy Cadia? I don't know. Some people think that doesn't quite make sense. The Abaddon just kind of failed again. Whatever. At least Cadia is destroyed. There's something actually happened, and now they're moving forward. So, say what you will for that. There was one upside of the 13th Black Crusade in the opening of the Cicatrix Maledictorum, the Great Rift infused with the Chaos energy from the mysterious realm known as the Warp. Rabute Gilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, lovingly referred to by fans by the nickname like Bobby G or Papa Smurf. I think the biggest nickname I've heard is Rowboat Girly Man. The Rowboat Girly Man, yes, was restored from stasis. Gilliman had been put on ice thousands of years ago after an injury left him on the brink of death as he stopped the what's his name? Red Skull. Whatever. But now he's back. He hates absolutely everything about the Imperium. Of course he would. He's mad at his dad, the Emperor. He thinks the whole God thing is pretty messed up. And in general, he would prefer the Imperium prioritize the accumulation of skulls a little less. I mean, it's kind of hard when you need about 1,000 psychers a day to die for his dad to keep the light going, but kind of rack up skulls that way. And it's kind of hard. I mean, what are we going to do about the Imperial Guard? If they're not dying, they're backing up the ships. There's too many of them. They gotta die. Gilliman is sealed in the armor of fate to keep him alive, and is seen as a demigod by everyone around him. All the while, he's trying to figure out concerns like picking up paper with his chunky war gauntlets or finding a chair that will fit him. He also has to deal with the fact that his father's Imperium is now split in two, with a dark Imperium on the other side of the rift that is cut off and under assault by chaos. Now, what I think they'll do with this, splitting the Imperium in two, so they got a lot of problems, right, that they're dealing with right now. One of them is trying to make Chaos a bad guy, a big bad again. Because the problem with the 40k universe is there's all these bad guys. You got the Tyranids, you got the Dark Eldar, you got the Orcs. Yet none of them really stand chance against the Imperium, because what they show, how massive the Imperium is and how they're always able to, of course, fight off, these hive fleets and these tomb fleets and what all the other things is because they've got such massive, domination force in the galaxy, and that it's the feeling we're supposed to get is that they're barely hanging on and that kind of stuff. And so you got it split in half now. If they don't keep Chaos holding like the middle of the galaxy or whatnot, which they probably will to keep Chaos a force, what they're going to probably do is, because Imperium is too strong, I think they're going to go back to trying to tear everything down even more. Like, we think they're not going to go super grimdark. I think they're going to try to make the setting less grimdark, the situation worse, and then build it back up to something. So I'm thinking they're going to split the Imperium in two. Gilliman's going to be on one side. He's going to, as he doesn't like the way the direction of Imperium is. He's going to kind of Imperium Secundus, like his plan was before, or whatever, but do that with what the Imperium is now. And on the other side of the Imperium, something else is going to grow. And now they're not going to be like bad guys like Chaos, but they'll turn into a different form of the Imperium that will fight this form of the Imperium. Now, it would be interesting if... the lame thing would be like on the other side of the Imperium, Luther comes back. And Luther leads them, and then they fight through the chaos, and Gilliman and Luther meet in the middle and hug and kiss and caress each other and fall in love and gayness. No. It'd be more interesting if, like, Rabute Gilliman brings half of the Imperium to, like, new heights or whatever of, like, technology and less grimdark as they try to move forward, and then as they fight through the chaos and meet back with the other side of the Imperium, that side of the Imperium's kind of regressed the other way, where less secularist, maybe they're more so just pure religious zealots, about the Emperor, and kind of see Rabute Gilliman as like another son who maybe is turning against the old ways and that kind of stuff. And so they have like another faction of the Imperium, two big sides of them, because they've got all these people with Space Marine armies that are always fighting each other all the time. Got to make it now. You can make it make more sense where it's like there's the people who really think they know the way. I mean, it's a lot of things that happen with religion, right? Is you got people who really think they know the way and people who really, really think they know the way, right? And I mean, come on, you already had Horus, which was one of the Emperor's sons, the lead of rebellion. So I don't think it's that far for people to be like, and I know Gilliman, you're ruling that side of the galaxy, but still think you're crazy because you're not the Emperor. Anyway, in recent years, Gilliman has been leading an indomitous crusade across the stars to try and restore the Imperium. Unfortunately, he's the only loyalist Primarch left in the setting, for now at least, because we know other ones are coming back, and the demon ones, maybe they'll even make one of the demon ones good or some bullshit, who knows. And so his demonic Primarch brothers will target him for their revenge and bullying. Just gonna like flick his ears from behind, pee in his cup. The flip side is that the Cicatrix Maledictorum, combined with 10,000 years of worship from trillions of human souls, seem to have plumped the Emperor full of power. In the book God Blight, Gilliman's Primarch brother Mortorian pulled him into the warp to slay him in Nurgle's garden. But the Emperor was able to heal Gilliman, use him as a vessel to burn down Nurgle's garden, and then revive his son fully, which is a power play that we're not used to seeing from the big guy. Yeah, this is why also another thing I think they're going to be doing is, like I said, moving the direction of making the Emperor like a god in the setting, like real god. Like, don't be surprised if in like 5, maybe 10 years, there's a big centerpiece model of the Emperor himself as like a star god kind of thing, or like a giant. You know how they did with like the Necron kind of stuff. I could see them doing it. Some energy being, and then everybody's army has the fucking Emperor in it. Yay, because we all need Abaddon and the Emperor fighting every game or some bullshit like that, but whatever. The Arcs of Omen story, along with the Boarding Actions game mode, seems to be setting up a new chapter in this story. Angron, another Demon Primarch, will star in his own Arcs of Omen book, along with Abaddon the Spoiler and Vashtor the Archifane. Fulgrim, a Demon Primarch of Slaanesh. It's not Fulgrim. Then who is the Word Bearers one, whatever. Is apparently active in the galaxy as well. Of course, I mean, maybe he'll be the one that flipped good. On the flip side, it does seem like the scene is set for the other Loyalist partners, like the Dark Angels. Lionel Johnson, yeah, the Lion. That's another one, right? Oh, that's the one I was thinking, the Lion to return. Or they could flip it on us and... Rogal Dawn's back! Everyone's been so excited for Rogal Dawn. Not really. Warhammer's 40,000's plot moves very slowly, but we just might see a big old family reunion this coming year. Chances are, much like everything else in 40k, something will go horribly wrong, grim and dark. Yeah. The only interesting thing is more so like, you know, they released a new army, the Votan, and yet they kind of have nothing to do with like the progression of like the story. I don't know. You think if they're leading to like a Primarch coming back or something like that, they I don't know, bring like the Votan into it, have some kind of purpose. I mean, they did that with the Eldar and Gilliman. I know they weren't releasing Eldar as a new army or anything, but whatever. You would think that they would try to match it somehow. All right. Anyway, let's see some comments here. Lehman Russ. Yeah, Lehman Russ may be a better one to bring back because everybody loves your goddamn Space Wolves, don't you?